Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. I have another Kamen Rider X-Aid review for you today. This is Level Up Rider Series number 10, Hunter Gamer. As you can see, it has kind of an awesome dragon mode when all the pieces are combined together. And then here's a picture of X-Aid wearing the armor, same up here. On the top, it shows that it is compatible with all 4 of the riders, which you can see over here as well. Unfortunately, you cannot have all 4 of them wear their parts at the same time, and I'll get into that more later. But here is X-Aid wearing it. Here are the other riders. Not too much going on there on the bottom. And then on the back, it just shows the dragon. This is X-Aid wearing the full armor, and then they show you how you can put each piece on the individual rider, so pretty cool box. We'll go ahead, we'll get out of the packaging, and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so these are all the pieces exactly as they come in the packaging, and I thought I would just show you quick how to assemble everything. First off, I really appreciate the fact that they give you yet another driver, and you can see there that the second gash hat in the driver is the Drago Hunter. It's a little hard to make out, it's not super distinguishable, but you can see the dragon head on the top of the second gashat. I think that's really, really neat. I like that a lot. So basically how you start out is this is kind of the main back piece. And you can see here that there's 2 pegs, and they're going to peg into these 2 peg holes right here. And it's very easy to do. So you just plug that in, and there you go. You can close the mouth of the dragon like this. The bottom jaw does not move, but you can close that if you like. Next up, you're going to take these leg pieces, and you can see how they have pegs right on the side. They're going to peg into these pegs here. And I have to say, the connection is really nice and tight. With Giri Giri Chambara, stuff kind of like fell out if you moved it around. But these are pretty tight connections that even if you shake it or anything, they're not really going to fall out at all. So I appreciate that. And then these also have little pegs right here, which are going to peg in to right there. I like to bend this at a pretty close to 90 degree to get it to go in. And then do the same with the other side. Oops. Come on, buddy. There we go. So here is the fully formed dragon. And I think he looks pretty fantastic. I like his little tail. Now in this mode, the feet have the kind of ball joint, ankle tilt, so you can do a little bit with that. The arms can move a little bit, and you do have, not quite, I'd say 45 degrees in the elbow there. Not a full, well, this one kind of has a full 90 degree. Does this one? Yeah, I guess it does. You just have to push it a little bit more. So almost 90 degrees, very close. But I mean, you can't push down too far because it's going to hit into the knees. But I think it's very successful to be able to combine them together just as a little dragon. And it definitely holds together better than Giri Giri Chambara did. So I appreciate that. I like the look of him a lot. I think he looks really neat. But now I'll go ahead and I'll show the entire combination with X-Aid. Alright, so the first thing I like to do is just go ahead and take the driver off. I always find that's easier to do in the beginning than trying to do it later once all the armor's on. So there you go. Snap on your new driver. Put the old driver off to the side. Then you're just going to completely disassemble the dragon, the complete opposite of what I just showed you. And then you're going to take the first back piece. Now, unfortunately, I'm not exactly sure why, but you can see how this top section kind of waffles a little bit. I think it's just because it's just kind of, I mean, it's not like it's going to break or anything, but you have to be careful when you're trying to plug it into the slots on his shoulders because it's going to not line up initially, and you kind of have to play like a balancing act here with the pieces on the side and just make sure everything lines up, and then you can push it down pretty solidly. And once you get it in, you can tell that everything's snapped in, and it'll be around the waist correctly. And it's nice because there's no front section to get in your way, so it's very easy to get everything lined up. And you'll be able to tell when everything's really snapped in nice and tight. So that looks correct. And then you can come back and put the front section on. So there you go. Now I'll bring this back up again later, but when you have the 4 guys each use a part of the armor, this is X-Aid's part. And it's kind of hard to see the X-Aid face down in there, because it really is kind of sunken back in there. I mean, you could push this down, and then it's like he's not saying anything. But yeah, it's kind of difficult to see his head sunken back down in there. But I do like the look of this. I mean, he still has the tail, which is cool. So that would be X-Aid's part if you were doing the 4 individually. Next, you're going to take the legs and you can open them up like this. But at the same time, the connection port down here, which is really for laser, you're going to have to lift that up to about there. And then the foot for the dragon, you're going to lift up and turn around and just kind of put this kibble on the back. Unfortunately, there's not really a better way to do it. It stores the kibble on the back. Now on the inside of this part, and it's going to be hard to see, right there is a tab or a peg, and that's going to peg into the peg hole here on the side of the leg. So just line that up, and it's a little difficult to do, but not impossible. And then you just close it up. And there's one leg. You're going to do the exact same thing with the other leg. Pop this part up, rotate the dragon foot around, rotate that to the back, pop it open, peg it into the leg with hopefully minimal difficulty. Alright, that one was really easy. So now you've got the 2 leg parts. And unfortunately the tail makes them a little back heavy, but not too terrible. Next you're going to take this, and you can see, let me get a little bit closer. There's a peg here, and there's a peg right there. And they're going to go into the 2 pegs right here and right here, while at the same time this is going to peg back into this up here. So what I like to do is peg that part in first, and then you can kind of bring this part down and form it to the arms. And sometimes it's a little bit easier said than done. Why is this not lining up at all? Do I not have this back part on right? I thought I did. Hold on, I'm going to take a second to figure out why that's not lined up. Okay, so it turns out I did not have the part that hooks into the shoulder tabs pushed in all the way 100%, so that's why it was giving me trouble. So to show again with this one, you're going to pop it into the side here, and then you're going to line it up and peg it into the arm and the shoulder. Now, unfortunately, I think what you're left with looks fantastic, but because of the way it pegs in up here and pegs into the arms, it almost completely hinders arm articulation, like 100%. It's a little bit easier to see the face now that I have it actually pegged in correctly, so I'll show that off. At least it's a little bit better than it was. Still kind of sunken in there a little bit, but I really do like the look of this. I think the leg bracers look good. Or the kind of shin guards, I guess I should say. And I really do like the look of the sword, I think looks neat. And you have the gun on this side. It's just a shame that it pretty much... Now what you can do, because it is hooked up here, you can take it off, the arms. And then kind of move it to the pose you want, and then just kind of put the arm in. It won't be 100% pegged in connected, but you can still get the point across. So, I mean, that way you get some of the arm articulation back, which is a nice thing. Unfortunately, you don't really get much knee articulation because of all this kibble on the back. It kind of hinders it, but it also kind of helps with the back heaviness. So I appreciate that. It's almost like a way to build in extra stability because it's so back heavy. So overall, I really like this. I think it's neat. I think they did a great job with having a really cohesive dragon mode as well as a pretty excellent looking, super combined dragon armor on the figure. But what you can do is take these pieces off, and how they do it on the show is that all four of them can use it at the same time. Now, the only problem with this, if you wanted all four of them to be wearing the armor at the same time, you would unfortunately have to buy 2 Dragon Hunter or Hunter Gamers sets. Because as I said before, this is Xade's piece. So put that here. We'll bring in Brave. And unfortunately, you're not going to have enough drivers for everybody, so you're just going to have to leave the one driver on Xade or pick whoever your favorite is. Now, because he doesn't have the piece to plug into, you're absolutely going to have to use the pegs on the side of the arm. So you don't really have the option that I showed you a minute ago to give you your articulation back, but you also don't have as much hindered articulation because you have one less point to plug into, and that kind of helps. Let me get this lined up. I always find that the top shoulder one is very easy to peg into, but the elbow one is a little bit more difficult on the forearm. There we go. But you can see now, because it doesn't have the top part to peg into, yes, it kind of keeps, but I mean, you do have the bend here as well, so you can straighten that out. So you can see you really don't lose a whole lot of articulation, a little bit of back and forth because of this peg in the way. But I like that. I think that works out well. Now you're also going to give him the blue leg piece. So let's go ahead and get that pegged on. It's a little tight. So there's Brave's piece. He's got the sword arm and the leg. And then if I bring in Snipe, he's going to get the shoulder piece. And then he's going to get the other leg. So you can see you're out of pieces, but you've only used 3 of the riders. And the way it just works is they give all of the pieces to Laser because they're just kind of taking the place of the Giri Giri Chambara pieces, where these will become the legs of Laser and these will become the arms of Laser, and then he just doesn't use these pieces. So it is possible to have Laser and Xade displayed at the same time, but you can't have all 4. If you wanted to have all 4, you'd have to buy a second Dragon Gamer or Hunter Gamer, and then you'd have to give Laser the arms and legs of the second one, and then you just have an extra kind of head and tail piece just off to the side because you don't really have a... Unless you wanted to put that on Genmu, which you could do, and then you could have all 5 use it at the same time if you bought 2 Hunter Gamers. That actually would look pretty cool. But I like the way this looks. I think it's pretty cool. I love Brave is probably my favorite just because I think the sword looks really cool, and I love the kind of teal on black. Kind of reminds me of Tron or something like that. I think that's really neat. So, very cool. I definitely think it's neat how you can at least get the 3 of these going at the same time. But now I'll go ahead and I'll show you how it connects to Laser. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've taken Laser and I've kind of transformed him into his level 3 version. And you're just going to take the legs and pop them into the tailpipes here. Oh, okay, it's already in. It's a little bit easier to just kind of hold this piece because it rotates in. Snap it in, and then you can just rotate it back. So there are the feet. And you can pose them how you'd like. They do have the ankle tilt. So he can stand. And then the cool thing about these are, you can see that this was the normal clip we used. You're just going to rotate it around 180, and this big ball joint is the clip that's going to go in the socket in here for his arms. So that just pops right in there. Do the same with the other one. And there you go. So I like that a lot. I think it looks pretty cool. It's similar to how he looks for Giri Giri Chambara, but obviously you have different arms and you have different feet, but it connects in pretty much the same way. And then, like I said, if you wanted to keep the Fang pieces on X-Aid, you could. But if you wanted to do all four, you would have to buy 2 Hunter Gamers, but then you could put the extra set on Genmu, which might look cool. So maybe if they ever go on clearance or something, that might be something that I consider. But I do like the way that this looks. I mean, it does look a little hollow on laser just because he doesn't have like full arms. But I really don't think it looks bad. The legs look nice and solid. I like the way the legs look. Just the arms look a little... But I mean, it really depends on how you look at them. If you look at them straight on, they look a little hollow. Especially if you have them bent like that. But if you keep them at a 90 degree... and maybe just kind of look at it from the side, it doesn't look that empty. But otherwise, it can look a little empty. But not that big a deal. You can get some nice poses out of the feet because they have a lot of nice articulation. So yeah, I think laser looks cool. I still wish they had something to lock his head in place, but that's an issue for another day. But yeah, very, very neat. I like Hunter Gamer a lot. I really like the little dragon that you can put together, and I love how it's so much sturdier than Giri Giri Chambara and some of the other armors in the way that, I mean, you could play with this by itself and it's really not going to come apart until you pull it apart. So I do appreciate that. I think the paint apps on it are pretty fantastic, and I love how there's even a decent amount of articulation in the dragon mode. I mean, you can move at the arm, at the elbow, you can move a little bit here where it connects to the chest part, and you can also have some play down here in the ankle. So I think that's really cool. On its own, that's neat. You have so many play options the way you connect it. The full armor can be attached to X-Aid, as I've shown, but also Brave and Snipe. You can put the full armor on Brave and Snipe. Unfortunately, you can't really put it on Laser because there's nowhere for the middle section and chest plate to connect to Laser. And it is a bit of a bummer that you can't show all four with their specific armor parts per the show. On the show, when they turn it into a 4-player game and they each take a part of it, you can't put Laser's part on because he kind of uses the same parts everyone else does. And that's just kind of a weird design. And I don't know if they just didn't really know what else to do. When you connect the parts to Laser, I think it looks great. I really do like the way it looks. The arms look a little hollow, but it's not a big problem. I really do like the way it looks on Laser. But you can get X-Aid, Snipe, and Brave all wearing their individual pieces. If you wanted Laser 2, unfortunately, you would have to buy a second Hunter Gamer. And it's something you might want to consider maybe towards the end of the line when they're just clearancing things to get ready for the new Rider series. You know, these will be around and it'll be a possibility. I don't think you need to buy 2. I mean, sure, it would be great if it came with the extra pieces in the box, just these 4 extra pieces, so you could do all 4 at the same time. That would have been great. But I don't think it's something that everyone needs, and I think to keep costs down, they decided not to do that, and I understand why. I mean, maybe there could have been 2 versions, but again, that gets too difficult, and I can understand why they didn't do that either. So it's just an unfortunate circumstance, but I don't think that should hinder you from picking this up. I think it's a lot of fun. I really like it, and that's the only thing I could possibly complain about. Otherwise, it's a great toy, so many play options, really nice paint applications, and pretty decent articulation. So big recommendation for me. Pick this guy up. I've rambled on long enough. Go out there and get yourself a Hunter Gamer if you're collecting the Level Up Rider series. I definitely think it's one of the best ones so far. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like and share this video, and please subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Level Up Rider number 10 Hunter Gamer from Kamen Rider X-Aid. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.